Boom. What's up, Swaggy Vet Nation? It's your boy, Big Pen. I got my co-host with me. First Swaggy Vet. What's up, baby?
What's going on, everybody? Swaggy Vets and all that company. What's happening out there?
All right, man. We're going to talk about Swaggy Vet merch again. Because we're going to hit you with the Wham Bam every day till it come out. Memorial Day, we drop it. We got the hats. We got shirts. What else we got, Jay?
We got stickers.
We got stickers.
We got patches.
We got patches.
We got tumblers. We got tumblers.
We got tumblers.
Shirts, shorts.
Hey, y'all, be on the lookout though. Swaggy Vet Nation. We're gonna have merch coming out May 27th, Memorial Day. So y'all on the lookout. All right, today we got a special guest with us. One of our old Delta Company OGs from back in the day, who was with us from the beginning. We're gonna bring to the stage one of our good friends, old Jeffrey. What's up, Jeff?
Always a pleasure.
Oh man, we just blessed to have you on here, man. One of the OGs.
Yeah, we went back, brother. We go back.
All right, man. Thanks for coming to us, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast with us. We are blessed to have you. Well, without further ado, man, just go ahead and give us a rundown of kind of like how you came in the Army, what inspired you to come in, and your journey to Delta Company.
All right, so man, okay, so signing up, like when I got out of high school, it was like 98 is when I graduated. Army wasn't even a consideration. Like I ain't gonna lie, like that was going on. This didn't seem like, I mean, we're talking pre 9/11. No racks going on. Man, I just went to college. I didn't do any good at it because I partied way too much. So after that, like 9/11 happened when I was in college. And then I moved back to my hometown. I was working at the post office.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the Iraq War was just about to kick off. And funny story, I went to high school with my recruiter. We were roommates.
What?
At the time I signed up.
That's crazy.
He was in town recruiting. I was working at the post office. We got our house together, like split costs.
Yeah.
And then one day, man, I was going I ain't working at the post office my whole life, like a lot of people in my town do, because that's like the best job there is. Because I'm in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. It's a great town, but not a lot going on. So I decided to sign up, and so to kind of backtrack, my grandfather jumped into World War II and he got wounded in Holland. And so that was why, like, when I went to the recruiter station, I was like, I'm not going to sign. Like, having your recruiter's roommate is kind of an advantage.
Oh yeah,
because he can tell you, like, hey man, hold out. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. So like, I wanted 82nd, I wanted Airborne in my contract. Like, so that's how. Not to disparage it, because I love being an 8 Mike, and there's a reason I never reclassed. But that's why I picked it initially, because I didn't know a job from another. It's like, whatever. As long as I get the 82nd and I get Airborne, I'm good. I'm golden. So that's why I signed up.
And I would imagine back then, 88 Mike, there was kind of like a real easy MOS to get into. I remember when I did it was.
Well, they gave me $20,000 to do it. Like, so they were hurting for him.
Oh wow!
Because that was the top bonus at the time.
Yeah.
But like, I had some college and stuff too at that point, like enough to like, get a little extra cash for coming in.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I met you not long after that. Went basic AIT.
Yeah.
Airborne school. When I got to Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty now, I have to say it right since I work there. But I remember we reported to Echo 782nd because Delta was already gone. You guys had been down there for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
And our first sergeant, Fetty, the rigger first sergeant, was like, "You're an idiot, Mike. Don't even unpack your bags, man. Like, we'll get you on the next flight out of here.
Oh wow.
So, like a couple of weeks later, there we are, wandering around old TQ.
Yep. TQ.
So, Sergeant Eric Morris telling us we needed to start moving faster because we were like lollygagging, we're tired of all our stuff. And he's in it. Like, he's been there for months. Like, he ain't listening to that crap. Like, come on.
Yep.
Yeah. Met you soon after that.
Yeah, we was a buyout.
Yeah, like because you were with the like the original group, right?
Yeah, so yeah, because we came in to buy up, and then I came the
There was
original
like
group.
Philpo and his crew.
Yeah, they got there in February.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get there till August.
Okay.
Yeah, and because it was a small group of us that got attached to I forgot what unit it was we got attached to, but we were all on buy up, and then all you guys came and you were on TQ. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. Then did that deployment there, and then we all did the BCT formation. So it came 4th Brigade. So you and I moved over to Alpha Company.
Mm-hmm.
While old Jones there, like the AMI thing wasn't who enough for him. He had to go do much greater things. I get it.
Yep.
So we did the two. I did the 2 tours in Afghanistan with Alpha Company, and I don't know if you want to get into the transition to the Advanced Airborne School right away, but so
just tell us how you went over there, man. It's fine.
Okay, so I'll give you a little backstory on why I even thought about it in the first place. Was when I went to Jumpmaster school, like I graduated Jumpmaster school with like right around my 3rd year anniversary in the Army. Like it was just something that I had a calling I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw those instructors over there, I was like, man, I want to be one of these people.
Squared away.
Right. So, and the timing kind of worked out after the 2nd deployment because I had just been a platoon sergeant downrange, but I was a staff sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So your platoon sergeant is an E6. You gotta look over your shoulder because that's the breaks.
Yeah.
Sergeant first class came in, so rightfully he got the platoon, and First Sergeant Ronnie Knight wouldn't let me move within the battalion. Like I was like, well, the FSCs, there's a bunch of them that want me to go over there and be like the district platoon sergeant. So can I take one of these jobs? And he's like, no, you're going to stay in the same platoon you just deployed with. And I was like, well, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I knew we just got back. Advanced Airborne was always hurting for people.
Yeah.
So I walked up to brigade and said I wanted to try out, and they sent me right over there.
Oh yeah. And you ain't look back.
No. Best job I ever had.
That's awesome, man.
That's good. So were there any challenges while you was trying to do all of that as far as becoming Jumpmaster?
Oh, I mean, yeah, there was plenty because I mean, jumping school in itself hard, and I'm one of them people, man. I'm not naturally good at anything, but I'm a good student.
Right.
So, like, when I first started out over there, man, like, the instructors were, like, almost snickered at me because, like, this guy's an idiot. He's never going to pass. No, I'm for real. Like, I mean, it's just me. Like, I don't take this stuff naturally. Like, some people are just, like, it don't matter what it is. Like, they never touched a golf club in their life, and they just start piping drives down the middle first time they pick one up.
Yeah.
There's people like that, man. I'm not one of them people. Like, I need practice.
One thing I've always known about you, though, Jeff, is you can memorize something quick.
Yes, and that helped me out a lot.
And I guarantee that was very useful going over there.
Well, it was. I got my hat like a few days earlier than you're supposed to because of that. But I did have plenty of challenges because before that, like my public speaking experience was in front of like a squad and a platoon. Nothing. Like they're your guys, you know them. Mm-hmm. And then you go over there, and when you're trying out at Advanced Airborne School, like every day during lunch, you're pitching the class to the black hats. So that's like the time you're up there trying to teach a class to the experts.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't like a natural public speaker. Didn't have a lot of experience with it. So man, I struggled. Like I was up there fidgeting. Like they made me I had to stand with my hands behind my back so they couldn't see my thumbs and like fingers, like fidgeting the whole time because I was like nervous. I wasn't used to talking like that. And over time, after I did 3 different stints there. Man, just send me in front of a room and I don't care. Like, what do you want me to talk about?
Mhm.
I'll babble and hopefully I know what I'm talking about. But either way, I'll talk.
Yeah, man. That's good because it kind of help you overcome maybe your fear of talking in front of people too, because you were forced to.
Yeah, public speaking and heights are like 2 of the most common fears people have. And I never had one with heights. That didn't bother me. Like I was ready to jump out of an airplane. Like, go, let's do it. But talking in front of people, that was much scarier than jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, I was definitely scared of heights. And because I was scared of heights, God said, I got you. I'm gonna help you get over this. So my first jump in airborne school, guess what I am? The doorman.
Yeah, that's the best way to break it.
I'm the doorman. And the Jumpmaster, we were in the C-130. When that door come up and that air come just whistling in, he looked over to me. He was like, "Woo!" And I'm like sitting there like, what did I get myself into?
That was me later on. Like, oh man, yeah, I got a little. I can tell you, both of us are retired now. I can tell you a little reckless story I had with Jack Brosher jumping. So it's got to be right after Iraq because we were like E3 still. Maybe maybe Jack had just got E4 because I think he got a little before me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. But so we're going over Sicily, day jump, Hollywood, nice and easy. C-17, like we're like jumpers number 13 or 12.
So
On
you're right
opposite,
there.
yeah, we're like on opposite paratrooper doors, but like right beside each other. So the green light comes on, people start moving, and, and my dumbass yells over at Jack, like, "Hey, Jack!" and threw my static line out in front of me.
No, you didn't.
Hit him with that Ric Flair, whoa, and started strutting down the aircraft. And just grabbed my static line and kept going like nothing happened. And dude, we collided right under that plane.
Oh man.
And if you ever get him on here, you need to get him to tell a story because he tells it a lot better than I do. He like, talks about like he's yelling for me to slip away, and I am engulfed in his canopy. Like he's at all because he was my big old nose coming trying to stick out of there. What I can tell you is this little thing. It sounds kind of hokey when you hear it in pre-jump. No, it works.
Yeah.
And oh man, we were like 13 out, and we were the first ones on the ground. Like I'm laying there, I still have one leg strap on because I'm like really evaluating my life at this point because that landing hurt.
I bet.
Jack runs over, canopy dragging behind him, didn't even release it. Like, you owe me a cigarette, you fucking idiot. I don't know. Can I cuss on here? I know, like, I don't know what the rules are for YouTube. But yeah, that's and that kind of taught me to respect heights more than I had in the past. So
Yeah.
I got a little reckless that day.
Yeah, my first Chinook jump when we ran off the tailgate, I did the same thing. I came on top of somebody's canopy, and it's crazy. You can really run off the canopy.
Yeah, well, disclaimer for new guys: if there's any young guys out there, you cannot run off a T11.
Oh, okay. We were jumping T10.
T10s you
Charlie.
could. They're nice and rigid. T10s kept rigid.
Yeah.
The T11 kind of collapses if you try to run, so you got to kind of scoot off of it.
Yeah, because they got all those holes in it, right?
Yeah, they got the corner vents.
Yeah.
And like it's so much bigger, like it's not going to stay as rigid either.
Mm. Yeah, those T10 Charlies are big and round, like they say.
You jumped a T10 Charlie, you old son of a.
Absolutely, I did.
Nah, I just missed him. I never jumped a Charlie.
Oh, dang. See?
Yeah, they had Deltas when I showed up.
Yeah.
Like we still had the side pool reserves,
Mm-hmm.
but
I've jumped the T10 Charlies, T10 Deltas, the MC1-1 Deltas, and then the T11s. But I didn't jump too many T11s because I came off jump status in 2015.
okay, yeah. Depending on where you were, because I never even touched the T11 until I went to work for Advanced Airborne School in 2011.
Okay.
And like one of the first things I did was they put me through me and I don't know if you guys remember Epps, one of the medics from 72nd.
Ep sounds very familiar.
Yeah, at one point he was a master rated E5,
Oh wow.
but
He don't teach
like
me those.
he ended up making master. I think he made it like we tried out the Advanced Airborne School together. So we went through like we got our hats, and then like the next available class we were in T11 transition course,
Okay.
and that was the first time I'd ever seen a T11. And then I jumped that, the MC6, the MC7, which doesn't exist anymore. I guess it's probably still out there somewhere, but
Nobody really jumps them probably.
well, it's kind of funny. The MC7 is kind of technically older than the MC6 because it was the test version.
Oh,
So
okay.
when the T11 got tested in the MC6 test versions, they had the 3-rig system like you'd see on a free fall rig. I know you just got
Mm-hmm.
that 3-ring system that they wanted to put that on our harnesses, but the Army didn't like it.
Oh.
So the Marines took the maneuverable, the MC6 we were getting rid of, and they're like, the Marines' budget's terrible. So if they can get something on the cheap, they take that.
Yeah, I picked up free falling when I was in Italy, and it's just night and day from static line jumping.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done it a few times since I got out, like just to kind of scratch the itch.
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. So how do you think all the time that you spent deploying, Advanced Airborne School, how did those experiences help you become a historian with the 18th Airborne Corps?
What I will say is they really helped ease my transition to this role because of the people I got to meet and the relationships I formed doing those jobs. Like I had to brief General Donahue as an instructor at Advanced Airborne School about like a investigation we had to do into a young lady's death.
Oh wow.
So like I knew the CG when I showed up. I knew the G3 sergeant major. He was my first sergeant at the Advanced Airborne School. And what I'll say about the Advanced Airborne School job is it gave me time to pursue college online, like a lot easier than on the line does. But that's not an excuse for guys on the line because I had to do it. Like I finished my bachelor's in Korea as a platoon sergeant. Like,
Okay.
so it's tough. Like take one class at a time. But so many soldiers don't use their benefits while they're in, and like it's free. Like you can get a free education. Like I wish someone would have slapped me when I was a private and made me start doing the TSP a lot earlier than what I did.
Oh, absolutely.
But now with the matching, man, if they're not putting in it now, they're nuts.
Yeah.
That's
So
like
you were grandfathered in the big three, right? Because I know now
correct.
they got the 401k type of retirement for the military.
Yeah, but it's so much better.
Really?
Okay, here's the misconception about the new one. You still get 40 for like we retired big three at 20 years. I get 50% of my base pay.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this one, the new one, they still get 40%.
Okay.
And then their TSP is matching. I can't I didn't have it, so I didn't look up the exact number. But they have matching TSP to a certain point. So if they do it right, the retirement should be a lot more than mine. But the big benefit to it is now the soldiers that don't do 20 can still get something out of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, with us, you did 20 or you got nothing other than the VA, of course. But
Yeah.
like retirement wise, like you get out 15 years, whatever. But at least now you got
Appreciate
15
you.
years. Yeah, now
Military
15 years,
appreciate.
you don't get the retirement check. But if you put in your TSP, like you should have profited a lot while you're in.
Yeah.
Should have.
Yeah.
So honestly, my advice to young soldiers that are still in, man, use your benefits. Like they do, like use the credentialing. Like go learn. Like they'll pay you to learn how to be a welder. I don't care if you don't want to do it. That's a life skill.
It's something you can fall back on.
Or
And
use
welders
it.
get paid a ton of money if you decide you want to do it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When I was in Europe, I definitely didn't do nothing but what I wasn't supposed to do. Party too much. I should have. Yeah, I should have did school and I should have did some other stuff. And if I could go back and slap myself, like you said, I wish I could.
Yeah, that's like when I went to Korea in 2016. I remember saying several times I was there, it's like, man, I am glad I did not come here as a private. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I would like that would have been the end of my career. Like I wouldn't even have got 1 year in. Like curfew and everything else. They got rid of curfew now.
Oh yeah, you were more disciplined going there, huh?
It's a lot easier to like, oh man, I'm gonna beat this curfew. Like it ain't worth having one extra drink to be late.
Mm-hmm.
When they just handing out Article 15s like candy for those curfew violations.
No, absolutely.
But I heard they got rid of curfew. But Korea is fine. If you're not one of them people that sit in your barracks room the whole time, like, dude, Korean baseball, top shelf stuff, man. Like it's a party. Like they have cheerleaders at baseball games. It's
What?
wild. Yeah, it's wild. Like it's like they are into it, and you kind of get caught up in it. It costs like 10,000 won to go, which is like $10.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
I never got to experience Korea. I wanted to go, just never had the opportunity, man.
I got you. Like one of my regrets is never getting stationed in Europe. I think like we got to do TDY there a bunch with the schoolhouse, but it's like a month at a time. Like you don't really get the experience.
Oh yeah, you went to Vincenza. I know you went to Vincenza.
Yeah, we taught a
Yeah.
course there, and then for several years I got to go to Germany for swift response, and then I was in Poland for a little bit, and we did a in-flight rig into Spain.
Oh, cool.
And then and my retirement gift from Advanced Airborne School was I got to go to the Normandy anniversary in 2022.
Oh yeah, that was. I got the opportunity to do that. The 72nd anniversary.
Nice.
It was amazing, dude.
Yeah, no, it's they're coming up 80s this year, man.
Yeah, it was amazing, bro. I had so much fun, and the people there are amazing.
No, yeah, truly humbling experience, man. Getting to like that, like the level of appreciation those people have around there is just something else. Like all these years later, like these people, most of these people weren't even alive when it happened, and it's just been passed down.
Yeah,
So beautiful thing to experience.
yeah, 100%.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. So when you was an airborne instructor, what were some lessons like you aimed to impart on some of your students?
Honestly, the big things I taught Jumpmasters is the same thing I taught young leaders. If you want to be good at it, care. Like care about your people, care about doing a good job, pay attention. Like there's never a point in the army and really in life where your actions don't affect the people around you.
Mm.
And the army in specific, like you're responsible for people's lives. Like you go, if I'm the primary jump master for a C-17, I got 100 people. Like even though I'm not going to JMP each individual, like it's my responsibility to get them there safely. And the number one way to do it is to care. If you care, you'll read the reference before you go out there. You'll know what's supposed to look, what right looks like, and you enforce the standard. Enforcing the standard is not being an asshole to people. It's making sure they do it right. And a lot of people in the Army struggle with this one, in my experience, explaining why it's important. Like, explain why we do things, like, especially with the younger generation. Like, these kids aren't lazy. They're not bad people, but they want explanations more so than, like, I think we were more willing to just, like, yes, boss, and go.
Yeah, we
Like,
shut
yeah.
we shut up and executed.
Sometimes to the younger, like, and you guys know as leaders, like, man, there's not one leadership style that fits every situation. Like, you got to adapt. Like, if I have Big Pen and Jones in my squad, like, I can't talk to you guys the same way. I can't motivate you guys the same way. Like, you got to make it fair, but there's different buttons I got to push. Like, to get the maximum results out of both of you and help you both reach your potential. If you're not making sure the next generation of the Army or the next generation of Jumpmasters, the next generation of 88 mics, or whatever job it is, you should want them to be better than you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we always want to progress. And the only way to do that is to, like, encourage them, build them up. Like, now I'm not saying baby them. Like, when they mess up, smack them. Not really smacking people.
Figuratively.
Figuratively. Right. Do not put your hands on your soldiers. It is not the 60s.
Yeah. That's a good insight, man. And because I mean, no one leadership is the same with everybody. People respond differently.
And man, I would say another thing with that is, like, make sure they know you're on the team. You're not just you're in charge of the team, but you're not just in charge of the team. Like, I'm in this team too. Like, don't just stand there all the time. Like, if you're there, don't just stand there. Help them. Like, now, the higher you get, the harder that becomes. Like, you got meetings to go to, you got admin stuff you got to take care of. But if you're just going to stand there, do something.
Yeah, do something.
Would you say, hey, be present?
Like, don't be like me. Like, once my retirement packet went in, like, he would ask me how I'm doing in the morning. And, you know, I'm over 19 years. My retirement packet's approved. I'm like, present for duty.
Did whatever you tell me, drill sergeant.
Yeah, like, I'm here. Mission accomplished.
Hey, while you was working at the Jumpmaster School, there's any like impactful stories or some crazy stories while you was there dealing with the students?
It's instructing. It's kind of like, I mean, I keep going back. Like, it's not that much different from, like, regular leadership, except for with an instructor, your results are delayed. Like, it feels good when you help a student, like, overcome and pass the school, but you don't really get that gratification until, like, you know, it's large package week. They don't call it that anymore, but, like, it's called Battalion Mass Tac Week now. But it's the same thing. If you go out there and you see that one of your students that, like, you know, struggle bus to get through, blade run, barely pass every test, now they're out there running the show, and they're competent, they're confident, and they're protecting their soldiers. That's where you get, like, that's why I do this. And that shouldn't be why you do it. But I think everybody needs a little bit of that, like, serotonin hit, like that little dopamine hit, whatever it is, like that feels good. Like, you know, I helped that person.
Oh yeah, it's very gratifying to see them not knowing to them, you teaching them, and then you seeing them execute what you taught them, and they do it with, like you said, confidence and precision. You're like, that's cool, man.
Yeah, like there's pride to that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and like the other role there as the instructor is a lot of people. Sometimes the leaders in the division don't like this part. Is we're kind of the voice of, not to use the cliche, like we're the voice of the privates.
Okay.
Like that like private doesn't. It's even if he knows better. If his battalion commander is his jump master and tells him to do something unsafe, he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where we come in because that colonel's not in my chain of command, and
Yeah.
like we're protected by like the division staff, like the CG and the sort of DCSM. That we can go like, no, this is not how it's done. And that's how I ended up in Korea because I did that one too many times. No, that's a real story. Like me and my buddy Chris Calais, we got moved up to what you would call this, what we call a support and evaluations team. It's like an OC type of duty.
Okay.
So that's how I got to do all those missions overseas. Because anytime there was a big jump, me, Chris, another guy, Miguel Mediano, and then a guy you guys both know, Jesse Perez.
Oh yeah.
In the first iteration, we all worked together on that. Like we were like the away team for the Advanced Airborne School. So, you're doing big old jumps. Like the four of us are there making sure you do it right. So,
They still call them JFXs.
uh, no.
No.
Uh,
Okay.
no, they have like that battalion master. There are still JFXs, but they're not as common.
Okay. Got you.
Like there's been kind of like an evolution of the naming conventions for what's happened over the years. So we came in as large package week.
Yeah. Large package weight. Yeah.
Then it went to JOAX. Then it went to JFX, then JOAX. And now we're at BMTW, Italian Mass Tactical Week. And it's same. It's large package week.
They just renamed it a bunch of times.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you. Somebody's getting a bullet on the OER for that.
Probably. Sometimes people just don't like names, man. I remember a time at the schoolhouse, I had to laugh so hard. So Jumpmaster Refresher is a word any Jumpmaster is comfortable with, familiar with. You go
Mm-hmm.
more than 180 days without pulling duty, you go to Jumpmaster Refresher. Like, because people's lives are on the line. Like, you gotta stay current. You gotta stay up to date. Well, at one point, we had to change the name of it to Jumpmaster Validation because some higher up was insulted that it was suggested he needed refreshed. Like
Really?
that's like sometimes you got to deal with egos like that, and
Why can't it be? Oh, I feel refreshed now.
I don't know. Like it was like we did not change one word of the curriculum, just the title.
Just the title. Okay.
Ah,
So, as an instructor in Advanced Airborne School, you had a lot of lessons that you probably went through. But do you have any like key lessons that you aim to impart on your students? Like maybe Jeff had a pet peeve that he makes sure he nails down and they don't forget it.
okay, so a big thing for me, what I always try to explain to my students, and they've kind of gotten away from it because now they want it read like everywhere, even in the division. But man, pre-jump shouldn't just be saying words.
Yeah.
It's a class.
Mm-hmm.
So like always cover what's in the script, but stop. Like, you know what the question that I got asked privately the most by jumpers over the years as a jump master and as an instructor, and it's going to seem silly. How do I know which way the wind's blowing?
Really?
All the time. All the time. People
Every
couldn't
time
figure
I've
it out.
jumped, I always felt the wind.
Well, I mean, people get confused. They pull the wrong way. But I promise you, hundreds of times, I had someone come to me too embarrassed to ask it in public.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, just look at your feet. Like, which way you
Oh,
going?
yeah,
Pull
which
the
way?
other way.
Yeah, that makes
So like, I got asked it enough, it became part of my pre-jump.
okay.
Like I would stop at that point and be like, hey, this is going to seem maybe a little silly, but this is how you know which way the wind's blowing. And I told you, like, know your audience. Like, so if I'm giving pre-jump to Jumpmaster students for PWAC, I'm saying it as fast as I can. Personal best was like 7 minutes, 7.5, I think. But that's Jumpmaster students. If I'm jumping with a bunch of privates that are on their sixth jump, no, man, these guys need it explained.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they don't. And the other thing, Joe and Jane on the ground down there, the privates, they can't say pre-jump, but they'll know when you're not saying it right.
Oh, absolutely. Wait,
So
you
like,
forgot this.
and if you go up there and make a fool of yourself, like you kind of lose your credibility, and that's not what you want in that moment. Like you got to build confidence. Like
Mm-hmm.
a guy we're all very familiar with, Bernard P. Smalls. Like, dude, that guy, you never doubted he knew exactly what was going on.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I remember my first safety. He grabbed me. He's like, "You're going to be my safety," and he worked the shit out of me. But I'm glad
Yeah.
he did
Mm-hmm.
because I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you guys talked before, like when we were having conversations setting this up, that you want to get him on here. I hope you do,
Yeah.
because the like 20 some years in, the very first sergeant I had was always the guy that I look back to, like how stuff should be done.
Yeah.
Be hard on people, but he protected us when someone else was trying to like abuse us or mistreat us. And he was hard on us to get us to be our best.
Oh, 100%. He demanded the best.
That's
And
it.
that's
And
and
then when I got to the schoolhouse, there was another first sergeant. The first sergeant that gave me my hat, he didn't give it to me. I earned it. That's a whole verbiage thing we do at the schoolhouse. Like no one ever gives
Mhm.
you anything, you earn it. But he said that there's one standard here at the schoolhouse, and I was like, well, what's that for? Something gets perfect's good enough.
Wow.
and like there are some things that they don't. There are some things that don't go on there that used to. That probably can't go on anymore. Like it was like there was like financial penalties for some mistakes. They don't do that anymore.
Wow.
You said, let's say I'm giving you a talk through for the JMPI sequence. I probably shouldn't pull back this curtain, but I don't think they do it anymore. So, and we're all retired. If you messed up and you said like wrong nomenclature, improper sequence, everyone that caught it, you got to buy them lunch. No, you're not
Well,
allowed because we're never allowed to be the reason a student fails.
I got you.
And if
That makes
you
sense.
tell it, if I tell a student the wrong sequence, how am I going to fail them when they do it wrong on the test?
So whenever you set up the JMPI, when you put the deficiencies on there, I'm guessing you guys are putting the deficiencies. You're like, hey, we're gonna do this time.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Okay, so it's kind of went back and forth over the years. I don't know what they're doing currently, but if you were the lead instructor for the class, you would write the tests for JMPI like the morning of,
Okay.
and you would give them to the committee chief for approval. And then to make sure it's fair, because there'd be like 6 stations, every deficiency had to be rigged by the same person.
Okay.
Now, maybe not like, say, like each jumper's got a major, like jumpers 1, 2, and 3. Like I might do all jumper 1s, and then you do all jumper 2, and Jones do all jumper 3. That way, the major looks the same on every station.
Okay.
Like if we're all trusted to like rig all 3, like your interpretation of reserve canopy exposed and mine might be a little different. It wouldn't be much different, but it can't be any different. Like, because it's got to be fair.
Yeah. Absolutely fair across the board.
Yeah. So there's a lot of measures in place to like. There's the reputation of the Black Hats that like we're badge protectors. But I told every class together, like I promise you, I'm not going to fall in love with you in these next like 13 days and want you to come back. Because if you fail, I just have to look at you again.
Yeah.
Like I know how this works. So
well,
why would I want you to? So what do I
there,
get out of you failing? Nothing.
yeah, nothing at all. But there's a big I don't want to say pride. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but because you have the different advanced airborne schools. You got the JSOC one, you got the Fort Benning one, then you got the 82nd one. But people that went and passed
the Navy's got one.
I know if you went past the 82nd one, it was a sense of pride. You're like, yeah, I made it to the 82nd one.
Yeah, I mean that's just think of it like the same as the branches of service. There's friendly rivalries. Like obviously I'm gonna, if I find out someone's a Benning Jumpmaster, like I'm gonna like talk some crap to them. But they're not a worse Jumpmaster from going to Benning. Like it's just fun. Like
I got you. It's what do we call it? Just banter. Tasteful banter.
Yeah, like it's just different, but like they have their methods, we have ours, but we teach the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some very slight variations, but there's not much variation between the courses.
Well, yeah, because you're supposed to have a standard. You got to stick to the standard pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, like we teach a couple things that we call additionals. Now, when I was teaching on the platform and I was on JM committee, we had a bunch of waivers, like exceptions to policy, so we could teach and test more stuff than they did because it's the division. Like they were teaching like just the Army basic standard, which is it's a school. Why not? Like we're so many of our customers are the 82nd. Let us teach our students the 82nd's weapon systems, like how to jump down. So we got a little more in depth in that period than they did. But I mean, it's stuff as long as you read the book, it's not stuff that's that hard. So they still weren't producing worse jump masters than us. It was just our guys had a little bit of a leg up walking up the door.
I got you. That's good to know. I've always wanted to know the difference, kind of.
Currently, there's not much, because I don't know. You said you got jump status in 2015. Like, not much after that, we came up with what's called the KSOP.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of the KSOP was to get all Army units on the same page. Like the Common, Army Airborne, SOP, whatever. It hasn't worked like they thought it would. I told them it wasn't going to because, like, Special Forces, like, USOC's going to want their exceptions. 82nd's going to want to do it their way. Rangers are going to want to do it their way. So now there's all these little annexes where they all do it a little different. But when we did that, the schools did get together and be like, all right, this is what we're going to teach.
Okay. That's cool, man.
And now the 82nd still does their own thing a little bit, but now what they do is they call it additionals. So it's not testable. Like there's a couple classes taught after the last test. So I suspect they don't pay that much attention because it's not testable. But like how to rig all the cruiser weapons in the division and stuff like that is taught after they pass JMPI.
Oh, okay.
So the curriculum is the same. We just throw some information at them at the end.
That's cool, man.
I mean, there's a big sign over our classroom that says we're here to teach. Like, hey man, if you don't fall in line with that, like you're not going to be a respected instructor, and like you'll be. Some guys get there and they get to teach one class the whole time you're there, and no one really talks to them.
Oh man,
like, cause like you have to care, and if you're up there telling the students wrong stuff, like you're going to get marginalized because it's not okay. It's not okay to tell the student the wrong thing ever. And and we're taught to we're taught to never say I don't know, but to like dodge it. Not really dodge it, but like, hey, I can't think of it right now. Let me get back to you.
Yeah,
like, there's a whole like script line you have to say for that one. But you have to go once you say that line to a student, you have to go get them the right answer and come back and tell them.
So you owe that to them.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah, like because I mean nobody knows it all, so you might get stumped every once in a while. Like, don't embarrass yourself by guessing.
Oh yeah.
Buy time and find out the right answer.
Buy time and find out the answer. I like that.
Like, I mean, you're like an instructor, a leader. Like, obviously, if you're a leader on the line, man, like no one knows every single Army regulation and FM. Like, there's too much. There's too much doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
So no one expects you to memorize it all, right?
No.
But if your soldier asks you something, you're responsible to go find that answer and give it to them.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it's the same thing. Like it's really not that much different, except for we got like business hours, and we're treated a little better working there. Like there's no staff duty at the schoolhouse.
Oh, nice. no staff duty on Christmas Day. I like it.
Yeah, man. Like that's the worst thing in the Army. Staff duty.
I've had it more time. I've had staff duty on New Year's and Christmas a lot. I can't even front about that. It was, and then my first year in the Army, I had it, and we had Bernie had just said we had First Sergeant Nagel.
Oh, man, that's for me, yeah.
So and First Sergeant Nagel came in there. His wife brought him, and he was a little tipsy. I should say he was just greeting us. He gave us some hugs and everything.
Oh, man, you just reminded me of those, like the dumbest stuff the Army was doing, like when we were young in the Army, was those call outs.
Red like Corvette.
Somebody get a DUI. Someone got a DUI on New Year's Eve, and they made us all come in. Now, how many people do you think drank and drove to get there?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I'm not going to say any names, but a platoon sergeant may have backed into someone's Jeep. How drunk they were. Like, the whole formation was, like, waving back and forth, trying to hold each other up. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, it's the way it was, but man, like I'm glad they stopped doing that stuff. Like, that's dumb. Like, that was always silly to me.
Yeah.
So hey, you say you're a historian now for the 18th Airborne Corps.
That is correct. Yeah, I'm the official title is Command Historian, But let me explain that in like the terms of the office. Think of that like Dwight. I'm not in command of anything. Like I am the historian. I am the historian of the command.
You assistant to assistant.
Yeah, I'm the assistant to the regional manager.
To the regional assistant regional manager.
No, it's a great, interesting gig. A lot of people don't know they're historians in the Army, and for good reason. There hasn't. There used to be one like division and up, like civilians dedicated to it. Well, budget things in the government way above us go back and forth. So GS positions sometimes shift around, go away. So like all the corps have lost their historians. I'm the first one back. Is my boss, General Donahue. He really pushed to like get a historian in there, and they want like it's a contract position right now for 2 years. They're trying to make it GS. We'll see what happens. I'm not optimistic because like commanders change and all that, but there's a big push to get us back in there. And the role's it's awesome, and it's kind of like multifaceted. Like right now, my biggest project is digitizing the archives, like for future generations. But that's real tedious.
Yeah.
So the other things I do is record what's happening day to day the best I can. And it's mainly just getting gathering information, gathering ARs, making sure I know when meetings are to sit in the right ones. So I can preserve what's happening now. Like I'm sure you guys see the news. The world's busy.
Yeah. Yes.
Obviously, I can't go super in depth or I'll get fired. The world's busy, and that means the Corps busy. So making sure that stuff gets captured, so the people that are doing great things, like their memory is preserved, what they did's preserved, and it's not just to preserve it; it's so future leaders can learn from it. Because history it never completely repeats itself, but it echoes and it gets close, and you can learn from prior things. So I maintain that, and then another thing I do that I guess other people could do, like you wouldn't need a civilian all for this, but I take a lot of stuff off people's plates, like the PAO, the protocol office, like. So I said Normandy 80's coming out. So there's doing like some honoring of people that like did great things during there. Well, protocol's got to deal with all the French civilians, the French government, all the VIPs coming to visit. So like I feed them the backstory to these people. Like I give them bio. Like here's the bio for this guy, and like let them focus on other things. And so that takes up quite a bit of time, but it's really rewarding. And this is helping out. I feel like I wanted to say something else there, and I can't remember it. We'll come back to it.
Well, when you first got this job, you said that it was vacant for 7 years, right?
Correct.
So you're doing a lot of catch up.
Yeah, like so. A lot of people, including me, never knew this little building down there on Knox Street was the archives. So core archives buildings down a little building on Knox Street, very nondescript. When I got in there, the old historian, she passed away years ago. Like I never met her. Seemed like she did really good work based on what I could see. But once she was gone, they moved the archives like 3 times. So it's just like detail soldiers that don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're looking at. They just put everything in cardboard boxes and kept moving it around. So when I got in there, it's just a stack to the ceiling cardboard boxes. For anyone out there that wants to protect paperwork, cardboard is the worst thing to put paperwork in. And it just has to do with the acids in the boxes. Like it's boring stuff, but cardboard is not the right answer for paperwork. It's great for moving, not for storing like documents.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm sorting through that, like scanning one paper at a time, cataloging what we have in there. So they're part of that. It's kind of tedious, but whatever. Like it needs to be done. So
Yeah.
we're good with the bad. Like I get to sit down and I got to sit down and like interview, like just one on one, just me and General Donahue. Like I got to sit there and talk to him about HKIA, about the pull out of Afghanistan. Like,
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
and like I got to do it about Ukraine. In a couple of weeks, I get to do it again. We're just gonna sit down and talk about his time in the command and like advice to future corps commanders. So that's cool. Like getting to talk to somebody that sees things at such a higher level than I ever got to.
Nice.
And honestly, like I'm sure your stories, like they're all kind of true about Chris Donahue. Like he's amazing, dude. He's a man of the people. Like the soldiers are lucky to have him around.
I
And
remember.
and I don't say that about many people up that high.
No, you don't.
He's fantastic.
Cool, man. Um. So, what do you think's most? Well, you kind of answered the question, really, when you just said it. So, what? How does your understanding of like the historian, now that you're there with all the history there, how is that perspective on like current military operations and strategies? So we got before, and then we got now. Like,
Yes.
so what's
Yeah.
like what's your perspective on current military operations, like understanding of it, kind of?
I get this. I gotta be careful here. I see things at a much higher level than I said I ever got to before.
Okay, got you.
And honestly, like there's times I'm still trying to grasp it because, like I was an NCO at a lower level. So
Mm-hmm.
when you get to that strategic side, that operational side, like a lot of times we don't get to see above the tactical,
No, we don't.
and so it's a whole different animal.
Okay.
And it gives you appreciation of like understand. It's always easier to blame up when you're low, and then sometimes you start to see like where the disconnects might be for certain things, and it's usually like so much higher than you even thought. Like is we always like blame the level right above us.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, I would most of the time that's not the case.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting to see because it's also very common to think that staffs don't do anything. Dude, the staff works. It's a different kind of work, but they work.
They're always in meetings.
Well, they're always doing something. Like they're always coordinating. Like it's not physically taxing. Like you're getting on the line. Like it's a different kind of stress, but like it's the stress is still there, and the hard work and the long nights is still there. It's just different, but it's like those guys on staff do a lot more than a lot of times you think.
Oh, okay.
At least they're trying to do. They're trying. I promise you, like to make it life on the ground as good as it can be. But it's man, war's war. Life on the ground's never going to be fun.
No, not at our level. The level we were on.
No. Like it's never going to be like, oh, this is super easy and comfortable. If it is, why are we fighting?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So just to go back, like getting the historian job was kind of lucky, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about use your benefits. So like, I ended up using my TA to get all the way up to a master's, and I did it in history because I was interested in history. And truth be told, my goal was to teach at like a community college or something.
I remember you talking about that.
Because I didn't know this job existed. And it's probably because no one did it. So I got on, like, I was Googling like historian jobs, like good jobs for like people with like this level of education and like a master's in history. What are jobs available to me? And 18th Airborne for historian popped up.
You're like, whoa.
So I applied for it. Turns out only one other person applied for it. And if you think about it, it makes sense. You had to have a master's in history, know about the job, and want to work for the Army. That's a small pool.
Yeah, it is.
So I got the job, and like it's a great gig. And if I didn't use my benefits to get there, I wouldn't have been eligible for it. And it was funny, like going back to my connections. So I did an interview with the contracting company that hired me on a Friday morning, right before Columbus Day. And then a couple hours after the interview, I got a call from the guy that runs my contract now, the officer in the Army. And he's like, "Hey, congratulations. Can't wait to work for you." Well, let me back up. First, he goes, "Is this the Jeff Avey from Advanced Airborne School?" And I was like, "Yeah, I used to work there." He goes, "Awesome. Can't wait to work with you. Looking forward to you." I was like, "Well, they haven't even called me back and told me if I got the job yet." He goes, "Oh, no. I just talked to him. You're hired."
That's awesome.
And it turned out I was his instructor at Advanced Airborne School. He went to Jumpmaster School.
Oh, wow. So he's like, yeah, we want him.
Like, so he was super excited when I got there. I don't know if he's still excited that I worked there here 6 months later. Because they were like I said, it was going into Columbus Day weekend. They're like, well, Monday is the federal holiday, so come in on Tuesday. So I got the interview and started 3 days later.
So how'd you do? Did you get a good left seat, right seat when you came in? Because nobody had that position.
No, I got no left seat, right seat. Now, what I will say is the community of historians within the Army that I started to discover, they've been super helpful. But they don't have to be. They're not really required to help me, especially since I'm a contractor and not part of the CMH, like the Center of Military History. I'm not technically in that organization, but they're super helpful to me. And help I think you guys were both would have been gone from 72nd at the time. But the battalion commander, when I left to go to Advanced Airborne School, was Tim Gilhold.
I remember Gilhold.
Okay, we're friends on Facebook and all that because I always get along with him. He's a historian for TRADOC.
Oh, wow.
So as soon as I got the job, he was the first person I called. But what am I supposed to do?
He's probably like, that's cool. You got that job, man.
Yeah, no, he's been great. He helped me out with the people on Fort Liberty that do the job. I did think of one thing I wanted to mention. So if you're in the Fort Liberty area, I strongly suggest you do the Sunset Liberty March. It's every night at sunset. There's a little pathway on old Bragg Boulevard where it closed off now, like past Stryker. It's the crossover from the Division Corps side of base and the old COSCOM side of base. Like obviously COSCOM is this thing. Like right there, there's a parking lot and there's this march. Now I say that to go back to the original Sunset March. The original one is in the Netherlands. It's over the Wall River. You may have seen Wall Street, WAAL, around Fort Liberty. So, as part of Operation Market Garden, Division had to cross the Wall River and take a bridge.
Oh, wow.
So, in this one area, 48 guys from the division lost their lives crossing the river. But they did liberate the town. You heard Nijmegen drop zone?
Yes.
That's where the town name comes from. That's where the name comes from. So when they built this new bridge across that river, and like, God, I don't want to mess this up. I believe it was 2012. They designed it so the sets of lights match the numbers of 82nd soldiers that lost their lives crossing that river. And
they did this in a foreign country?
Yeah, it's in the Netherlands.
Wow, that's awesome.
And each night at sunset, when the lights come on, they don't come on all at once. They come on in the sets, like one for each guy, in like a marching pace. So if you walk casually across the bridge at sunset, the lights will light up as you get to them.
That's cool, man.
So General Don, who did that march, and then he came back, and he's doing one here. So why I'm excited about it, because right now there's a bunch of temporary signs out there, and it's awesome, but it's not done. It's not like what a monument should be yet, because that takes money, contracting, all that. So right now, like a big project that I'm working on, and the youth soccer historian team's working on, we're gathering up submissions from every unit on base, and adding our own, of course. And we're making this giant list of submissions, like for historical events around the area, like even before Camp Bragg existed, like like things people don't know about Fayetteville. Like one of the earliest declarations that we wanted to become independent, before the Declaration of Independence was signed in Fayetteville. The Constitution for North Carolina ratified the Constitution of the United States in Fayetteville. Like, so that kind of stuff too. And there's going to be 60 signs out there, and we're in the process of writing those markers. And now I won't be the one that approves them, but I get to like write them, proofread them, edit them, and send them to a board of like dignitaries from the area, and they get to rank them. And then obviously the post commander, and right now obviously is Donahue. If he's still there when this whole process is done, they get to select which 60 are going out there. And it's exciting to me, one, because we get to honor these people. It's a super cool thing that we're taking off from us. I didn't know about that thing in the Netherlands either. But I'm excited because words I write are going to end up being on this installation forever.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't do anything cool enough to get on the signs myself.
Well,
make sure that's clear. That's clear.
Yeah, but I mean, you're helping facilitating all that.
Well, yeah, it's making sure. Like I said, that's a big part of a historian is not. It's making sure people get recognized for their contributions and making sure we learn from our past events. Like, so those two things like are the biggest part to me of being a historian and making sure the world gets better. The Army gets better, the world gets better. And the best way to do that is to look back and be like, well, we tried this and it was stupid. So let's not do that again. Or, hey, this worked. Let's try to adapt it to make it even better.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Can you share some experiences of mentorship that has influenced you along this career path?
Oh, hey. Man, I'm trying to think of like, I've had mentors. I'm trying to think of like the good examples of like I said, like Biggie, Smalls, like obviously. I'd say Sergeant Wynn, the truckmaster we got there ended up being first sergeant, later sergeant major elsewhere. Like he's the one I kind of learned. Like, hey, I remember seeing that guy like rolling LMTV tires around as a truckmaster. Like,
100%.
so it was like, man, like, so if this guy can work, there's no excuse to never work. Like he is definitely wouldn't have had to do that. He could have made someone else do it.
Where was he from? I just remember.
I don't know where he's from. It's always dangerous with that, but his background, his ethnicity is Vietnam.
Okay, because I remember first time he ever had us informed. She's like, "Hey guys, my English is not good, so bear with me, whore."
He had an accent, but I've heard a lot worse. Like I
Oh,
always
I've
knew what he was
heard a
saying.
lot worse. He was trying to give us a disclaimer, but
No, I
his
get it.
English was decent. Yeah, I just thought it was funny that he's
I
like,
was nothing
bear
on
with me.
beat that. I remember. God, I don't even know if I should tell this, but I remember there was a day. You guys remember Figueroa and Manfred?
Yeah.
Mumford.
Those two got like they were. I can't remember what they were heated about. I don't think I ever knew. Those two were arguing in the motor pool, and both of them super thick accents. And like JB walks up and goes, "What are they arguing about?" I was like, "Damned if I know. Let me know if you understand what they're saying."
They're in their own little world over there.
Like, I know they're bad. I don't know about what. Those two's accents when they got fired up, those were hard to understand. Win was great. And at the schoolhouse, I had a couple guys. Like I said, Buffalo was great. This guy Garcia, he was the one that kind of taught me about like being the voice of the privates. John Antipuesto, he kind of like taught me like, hey, the students are what matters. Like a lot of times when you go there, like you buy into that reputation. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to be a hard ass. And he's like, no, you're not. We're supposed to like make Jumpmasters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, I always say they don't do it right if you give them a no go, but like you don't want them to fail. I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense. And then later in my career, like when I got to the realization that I wasn't personally going to meet some of the goals I had for myself as far as promotions went. I kind of taught myself to like, okay, your roles changed. Like you can still matter in the army. Like pick people up, push them forward, and make them better than you. Like make the best possible future generation you can.
There you go.
The army's a young man and young woman's game at the end of the day. Like eventually your body can't take it anymore.
Oh.
So you got to make sure that those men and women that are willing to do this are treated well, are trained properly, and ready to fight. And the one thing I've always hated about seeing people in the army that decide to get out after their first or second term get treated badly. Like it's like I've never got it. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I always noticed it. And at one point in the Advanced Air Force album, probably was the most hated person in the division, but not for the reason you think. Like if a guy or girl comes in and does 4 years and gets out, they still did more than 99% of the people out there.
Yeah.
So make sure they're taken care of. Make sure they get their benefits. Don't treat them poorly over it. Like, and why I said I was probably one of the most hated people. Like, Advanced Airborne School gets a little detail every month for people to help us out with stuff, so we're not taken away from teaching. Like, they answer the phones, they clean up around the building. Like, we treat them real well, but they do a lot of our busy work, so we can focus on students. And I made a habit, like once that whole credentialing thing, going back to the welding thing came about, I would always talk to them and make sure I knew their situation. It never failed. They were about to get out. And they were just pushed them off in a corner somewhere. Like they had like a less than a year left. They said they weren't going to. They said they weren't going to re-enlist, so their unit threw them away. I was like, "Hey man, like have you signed up for any classes?" And I would sign them up for like credentialing classes. Like, "Hey man, you're going to learn to be a welder. Hey man, you're going to learn to do this." So, oh, they can't tell you can't do it. It's fun. So I'm sure a lot of units hated me over
that.
that.
So we talk about a lot on here. So you were in for 20 years. You did, you got deployments, a lot of responsibilities. You was at the schoolhouse, doing your instructor thing. Thousands of students came through that you instructed. Now it's time to get out, right? What kind of challenges did you face transitioning out of the military after having such a high up tempo to just getting out and being Jeff?
Okay, so all right, that's fair. That's a good question. One, start preparing to get out before you're out.
Mm,
That doesn't mean how stop working, stop helping the unit. But what I will say is that I see a lot of guys that struggle bad and girls that struggle bad. I think this one's more prevalent with the guys though. The the army should never be your entire personality.
no, yeah, I get it.
Like you can't they're we've all met them. The army is what they and who they are. The army is a great and noble profession. Be proud of it. While you're still in, never stop being who you were. Like, never make it be your entire identity. Like, you gotta have other things to fall back on. Um, then once you get out, take it slow.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Um, like, it is going to be weird. Like, you're used to that structure. You're used to, I gotta be here. Someone's gonna tell me what to do. You gotta pick out your own clothes now every day. Like, it's little stuff that you don't think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be told what to wear, when to get up, when to do this. So start discovering who you are and what makes you happy. And that starts while you're in. Like, yeah, I'm all for chasing the career, the promotions, all that. I get it. Man, being happy is much more important than getting promoted or making money. Like,
Mm,
just do stuff that's going to, I don't know, make you proud to be you. So I say, like, and then realize, like, you got your family, you got your friends, you got your hobbies, hopefully. If you don't have hobbies, get some. Whether it's golf, skydiving, gardening, doing puzzles, I don't care what it is. Find something that occupies your brain. And because if you just get out and sit on the couch and drink all day, you're going to spiral.
yeah.
You're going to get depressed. Like, see, like I took 6 months off when I got out. But
Oh, that's
I was determined. Like, I'm not doing anything. Well, I'm not getting a job for 6 months. That was my. So, but I volunteered at the museum downtown because I'm a history weirdo and I'm a nerd, and I like stuff like that. And I was golfing a lot. I was skydiving until I hurt my shoulder. I was helping my buddy Schoolcraft down. I helped him convert his childhood home into an Airbnb, and we did some like clamming and crabbing tours. I helped him out with those, even though I should not be the one teaching people how to do stuff like that. Yeah, like I went to Vegas and partied up for a while. I did party some, like it wasn't all like, but I just took time. Like, I did not even consider looking for a job until I retired on May 1st, but my terminal leave started March 1st. I didn't apply for a job until late August. They refused to.
man. Tell you something, man. You took a knee, faced out, and drank some water.
That's it. Like, reset. Like, I know some people, like, they go to work while they're still on terminal leave. Like, I mean, I guess if the opportunity's that good and you have to take it, I can't tell you not to. But man, take your time is my advice. And make sure you do your VA stuff before you get out. Go see your VSO. And
Yeah.
make sure you understand how I would tell people, like, find the people that retired. Because, like, you start finding out stuff like, oh, your last paycheck's late. Oh, like the first month you don't get paid by the VA. That's stuff you don't know.
30 days behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like stuff you need to know. Like you need to know like you have to submit your VA claim between like 4 to 6 months out. That way it gets processed in time.
Hey, so looking back at your career, what are you most proud of, and what do you say you would do differently?
But what I do differently is real easy. uh, well, out front, like the reason I retired as a staff sergeant, like it's on there, is is I made a mistake. I got a DUI like 2 weeks before I made the E7 list. Right, and I was destined to be in the division because my sequence number was even 82.
Yeah, he was destined.
But so I mean that's easy. Like they don't take stupid chances with other people's safety more so than your own career. Like it was, you know, things could have been a lot worse than me getting in trouble that night. What I'm most proud of, honestly, is surviving that. Is that I had done a good enough job up to that point to where people rallied around me and made sure, because like the Army system is what it is.
Mhm.
I had to go to a separation hearing where where I could have got kicked out, and then it automatically triggered QMP where I got kicked out. And like the support I got from like people that had been my commanders, my coworkers, my subordinates, like to make sure that I got to finish my career and keep giving back to the Army, uh, it's definitely what I'm most proud of. And I remember saying in the separation hearing, the guy asked me, he goes, you're never getting promoted, right? Like, there's no way. Like, and you got like, you had a little over 10 years left by the time the hearing was. Because why do you, like, one, why do you want to stay in? And two, why should we keep you? And I was like, well, the reason I want to stay in is because I love what I do. Like I'm passionate about the Army. I want to keep
Mhm.
contributing, and I can keep contributing. And I was like, and the reason you should keep me is that you've heard everyone talk today. You've seen my ancillaries. You've seen what I produce as a staff sergeant. Just, are you telling me you don't want 10 more years of
Oh, nice.
that? And apparently it worked.
Right.
That's good, man. You were super resilient. So
Yeah, I mean that's it. Like I don't care who you are, you're going to get knocked in the dirt, whether it's your own doing or the universe is doing. Sometimes you're going to get down, man. So don't give up. I guarantee you, someone out there cares. If I know you, I care. If I don't know you, obviously, I can't care about you, but I still hope you get the right help. But don't give up. Like don't be afraid to fight for yourself.
Right.
Because if you're not going to fight for yourself, who's going to?
100%.
Yeah. So you're out now, 08. I know you don't have the comrades. You do got some of your friends around you still, your family members. But how do you maintain a sense of connection with your military roots and your fellow veterans while you're in your civilian life?
All right. So obviously the job helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was about to, yeah.
but more than that, uh, for years and years, we've had like this group text message going. Me and like some of the guys I ran with, all the way back to Delta Company. Like we all had our little like loved everybody in that company. I did, but we all had our little groups we ran around with, and we're a little closer to. So me, Schoolcraft, Rocher, and Dave Harris, and another guy. He's a good dude, but I didn't know he wasn't in the company. We've had a group chat going since group chats were a thing with text message. And we once a year we make a trip and we get together, we play some golf, we act like privates because we take leave like the wives, girlfriends and families behind and just have a good time, man. And and then that kind of allows us to tell those old stories and like, laugh about it, because you can't always tell the stories to civilians. Like, they don't make sense, or they think they want to hear it and then they really don't. And I think that's why these reunions, like the Delta Company reunion and now 72nd has its reunion too. It's great for stuff like that. Like, have a weekend where you just get together with guys and girls that you've been through some terrible and great stuff with, and kind of reminisce a little.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is true. Like, the people that haven't been through it, it's not they don't care. It's very difficult for them to fully understand. And that's not their fault. And you can't ever hold it against someone that hasn't been through it, like, for not having your experience. But staying in touch with your friends matters. It's helpful.
Oh,
Having that outlet to talk, like, that's why what you guys are doing is great. Like,
appreciate that, man.
like, just even this, like, I'm telling stories tonight I haven't thought of in years.
That's what it's about, man. It's about.
And if I wasn't talking to you guys, I wouldn't tell them to the girlfriend. I wouldn't tell them to my roommate that was never in. No, so this has been outstanding, guys. I hope I lived up to some expectations here.
You a swaggy veteran.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Well, I know I followed Stanford. I know that guy could talk. And then I'm probably going to have Biggie coming behind me, the legend himself. So I'm trying to stand out here a little bit, like, so I don't get this glossed over.
Well, but before we get off here, Jeff, you gotta tell us, because everybody from Delta Company, you gotta tell us a Biggie Small story, whether it be funny or maybe something he impact you. I know you were talking a little bit about him earlier, but maybe you can.
Now I'm trying to pick one.
There's so many.
All right, I'm gonna tell one. Oh man, can I tell two?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the first one will tell, he's not fully involved in, but it kind of gives you like an idea of like how serious he was and how both respected and feared he was at the same time. If you guys remember, every Monday during like the good weather months, after First Art ran us forever, we come back and he'd pick like two people to push the little seed thing around the yard. Like the little grass feeder stuff. Well, this particular Monday, he picked myself and remember Wallace?
Wallace. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Terry Wallace. Great dude.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, we got picked. So we're pushing it around. I was pushing it. Like, so it's more about me than Wallace. Wallace is just kind of a victim. And someone yelled something at us, like joking around. And we looked, and the thing tipped over.
Oh, was there a lot of?
You know what happens when that stuff gets on the grass? So Wallace and I locked eyes, like just eyes bulged over head, like we're dead. we're on our knees on the ground trying to shovel all this like grass seed and fertilizer back into the thing. And we came up the next day and there's just this brown circle. And oh my God, Biggie was fired up.
He did not play by his grass.
Yeah. But I wanted to tell too, because I wanted to tell the flip side of it. We were the only Airborne idiot mic company for a long time.
Yeah.
So we supported like every jump on post that was larger than a company.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those large package weeks, we were doing like 12 on, 12 off the whole week.
Yeah, we were run thin.
Well, for whatever reason, like I remember a bunch of us, we were out helping on a jump on Holland, and they had lost all their parachutes. Oh man, I didn't realize that I was going to have to go here when I started telling this story. So they lost the sergeant majors out there making us do things to help find them. But we got another jump coming up. So we're like trying to tell him. And then rest in peace, our good friend Berrigan. He called back to Sergeant Wynn and told him what was going on. I'm telling you, after he made that call, I like however long it takes to get from Discom to Harlan Drop Zone, like 30 minutes. That van pulled up, and like Sergeant Wynn's in it, Sergeant Williams is in it, but then Biggie just jumps out of this thing and is like, "Who's in charge out here?" Because you're not like, and just lit this sergeant major up, and then came over and told us like, "Hey, what you got in the back of your trucks, you want to go take it to the pack shed and drop it, not the pack shed, the shake tower, drop them off, and then go to your next mission. Like, don't listen to any more of these people." Like, he came and got her back. Like, that's the guy he was. Like, he was hard on us. That's why we were scared of the grass being burnt circle, but like, he loved us, man. He took care of us.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, I always took care of it.
Yeah, no, Biggie's, like I said, the whole career I always thought, like, that's the guy. That's the guy I want to be.
He and Sanford really put it in terms we could understand. He said Delta Company was a leadership clinic.
I agree with that. We had a lot of great ones.
We did, man, and I feel blessed that that was the first organization I was a part of, because all these podcasts I've said it shaped and molded me to be a good leader in the military.
Oh yeah, because they were all like that. Like Rodriguez, he's our major now. Johnson, Shaky Shake, Shady J. He was great. Like, he came, like, he was. Oh god, Shady, Johnson. I remember he used to say, like, when I tell you things 3 times, so when you don't do it, I can fuck you twice. Oh man, he was great. Like, when we were in Iraq in 03, like, if you were with us, the TQ group. When Sergeant Johnson was running convoy, you wanted to be on that because like we were back before breakfast. Like he just like let's go. Like I said, Rodriguez was great, Kane was great, Strib was great, Morris was great, Williams was great, and then that's I'm counting Wynn and obviously Biggie. And then even in the motor pool, you had Dollarwich and Bennett, which were great. Like, I mean, obviously, we didn't have as much direct contact with them, but you could still learn so much from them.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jeff, man, we really appreciate you coming on, sharing your stories, sharing everything about your career, and just conversing about old times, man, because that's what it's about.
Oh, man. I'm glad you guys invited me. Miss you guys. I hope you guys make it to the reunion.
Oh yeah, hey, we're gonna check you out, man.
Yeah, we're gonna come down and break some bread, man. We definitely gonna come down. We're looking forward to it. So, yeah, if you do, get some info on the 782nd ones. Tell me so I can put it out.
Yeah, I'll get it from Alfaro or Davis. It's not Davis, but I can't say her new last name. But Dawn, I'll get it to you because like it's out there. Brialis also has the information too.
Okay. Well, thanks again, brother, man, and we'll keep in contact. And you got anything in closing?
No,
Jay?
man. Be true to yourself. Take care of yourself, and don't worry about a thing, man.
Don't worry about a thing.
You gotta enjoy life.
That's it. Hey, man, we appreciate you for coming on the show, brother. Love you, man. Thanks.
I love what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jay.
Buy the shirts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 30 minimum.
All right,
All right, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.